Welcome to our special series celebrating Black History Month at Michigan Athletics. In this series, we dive deep into the personal stories and experiences of our Black student athletes, coaches, and staff members. Each episode features heartfelt conversations exploring the intersection of identity, culture, and sport. Join us in today's episode as we hear from remarkable individuals within Michigan athletics. As we listen to their stories, we invite you to reflect on the significance of representation and the ongoing journey toward inclusivity in sports. So sit back and enjoy these inspiring conversations, which not only celebrate Black history, but also pave the way for future generations in athletics.
My name is Ruquel Atchison. I currently serve as one of the associate directors in our academic success program. I have been at Michigan 22 and a half years.
My name is Kennedy Johnson. I'm on the women's track and field team, and I have been at Michigan for the past 3.5 years.
So Kennedy, you and I talk all the time, and I know we talk a lot about family and influences and career and all things under the sun. So I'll just start by asking you, in what ways do you think your upbringing influenced your perspective as a student athlete?
I would definitely say both my parents, my mom and my dad, kind of put a lot of emphasis on the term student athlete. My dad was a collegiate athlete himself, and he was sure to make sure education was a big thing. So I knew if I went to college to be a student athlete, I wanted to make sure I had an academic scholarship, or I was putting the work in during high school so I can my academics can transfer over when I was a collegiate athlete.
Awesome. I'm gonna ask myself that same question. I wasn't a student athlete in college, but definitely involved in sports from the time, probably second grade. I started playing basketball. But my parents also and grandparents always stressed how important getting an education was. I hadn't seen anyone in my family attend college. And so I think I was heavily influenced not by just my parents and grandparents, but definitely my teachers in high school especially, always encouraged me academically, always supported me, pushed me, and in some ways challenged me. And so I think they were very instrumental in terms of exposure to possibilities as it relates to college. And so for me, definitely parental influence as yourself, but I think more importantly during high school years, teachers, certainly.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know my mom, both of my parents were first generation college students, and my mom was definitely putting an emphasis on academics like throughout my whole entire life. And while my dad was more of the athletic person, between the two, I feel like they both kind of put that emphasis on academics as we both went through college, me and my sister.
Awesome. And I believe, are you an only child, not an only child, I'm sorry, the oldest sibling?
Yes, I am the oldest between me and my sister. She's a freshman at Howard now.
So I'm in the middle. I'm a middle child, but my older sister did go to college, community college. She started, which was awesome. And then I went to college, and I think that at first, I'm going to say first generation, because my sister didn't finish, but it was great to see her go to community college in our hometown. But I think for me and my family, certainly after I went to college, I think that showed my sister, my younger sister, my cousins the possibilities. And so I think that kind of started the college train in our family. And I want to say, is that true for you too? So after you then, both your sisters were interested in going to college?
Yeah, I have two older sisters who are my stepsisters, and they actually went to college and they finished. One went out of state and one went in state. So I kind of saw both of those perspectives of just kind of like being out there on your own. So for me, being from Michigan, I was staying in state. I kind of had a sense of backing just because I knew I wasn't going too far. But as for like me and my sister, like between my mom and my dad, I definitely feel like I was probably the most influential with her experience, just letting her know that it's fine to go out of state, because both of my parents didn't go out of state. They both stayed in state. So with her, just showing that she can do everything that she wants to do, like, and kind of be far away, and she can, like, she has everything she needs. She has all the tools.
Awesome, awesome. Who are some Black athletes or Black figures that have inspired you throughout your life, and how have they impacted your journey?
So I definitely want to say right off bat, my mom, she's definitely like played a huge role in everything that I have done, from the different sports to the different extracurriculars to the schools I've been to, just pretty much everything. But to put an emphasis on athletes, I definitely feel like my friends and just the people that I have surrounded myself with as I've grown up have definitely made a huge impact on my journey, from the time before I even got to Michigan, just applying to schools and thinking about where I could possibly be, and thinking about like what my reach in safety schools, and being in college, meeting new friends, meeting new athletes, building a community here in and outside of the sport, but just having those people to lean on throughout my major, throughout my injury, just throughout everything that I've like gone through in these past 3.5 years. I definitely feel like my friends, athletics or not, have definitely like supported me through a lot. Do you feel like people have supported you throughout your time here, your 22 years?
Yeah, definitely. I think having mentors in this space is super important, especially being at a place like Michigan. Michigan Athletics has been a great place to work. I don't think I would have stayed here as long if not. But if I didn't have the people here supporting me and pushing me throughout my career, I don't think I would be as successful. I think during the times where maybe I may get down, or times where maybe I've had to reinvent myself in my career within my role, I think it's great to have people not that only look like me, but people that don't look like me support me. I think that's been important. I definitely think having mentors or role model within the athletics community and also outside the athletic community is important. Obviously, within the athletics community, they understand how athletics work and can give me that perspective. And so for me, not just in Michigan athletics, but having colleagues around the country, at, different institutions, keeping strong connections with them is helpful in this space because we all kind of go through some similar things, and so being able to encourage one another and be a listening ear for them being a listening ear for me. I think I've developed a great community of supporters in this space, and so I think that's super important. And then mentors outside of this space are also helpful too, because they give me perspective that I may not see, just because I'm in this day to day. And so they're able to give me some outside perspective. And so I think, the community that I built is special to me. And I think, I don't think you should ever stop growing your community, even though you may have some long-time colleagues, some long-time mentors. I think just always being open to new people and new opportunities are important.
Definitely, that makes sense. I love how you said how everybody supported you throughout your time here. Do you feel like representation in your field, and particularly just for like Black individuals as a non-coaching role, you think that's important? Like, do you feel like because you are in that space, you're able to better support athletes here? Or why do you think it matters, if I should say that?
I definitely think so. It matters because, it's good to see people that look like you in positions where you aspire to be. And so I think it's harder when you're at a place and you don't see that representation, right? And so, as I said, having colleagues at other institutions or mentors at other institutions, I think the Black community within athletics overall, I think we all have we're a great tight-knit community, and when we go to conferences or we're on social media or we're in group me text threads and all of that is important because the storytelling matters, right? We all go through some of the same things, and so it's helpful that they're there because you realize that you aren't alone in this space. And so, whereas there may not be a Black woman in leadership within Michigan athletics that I could look up to, but I know I have a close community within the overall athletic space across the country where I can lean on. I can lean into that group when I need support. I can lean into that group to see those in positions where I aspire to be. So it's important to see it. So that means if I see it, I know it's attainable, right? But also if I don't see it, I have the confidence that even though I don't see it, I'm okay with being the first. I've been the first before. And so whereas I may not see it here now in Michigan athletics, maybe I can one day be in that role and others can look up to me and see that at a place, at a PWI like Michigan, you can see representation within leadership positions. All right. So, Kennedy, how important is it for you to serve as a role model for younger Black athletes, and what message do you hope to convey?
For me, I feel like when I was growing up, I wasn't really super into sports. Like, while I did go to sports, I feel like all student athletes, some of them just kind of go to school and then go to practice and then, like, they're just worn out and tired. So I feel like I didn't have that many role models when I was younger, just, like, in the athletic space. But I think it's great to kind of show younger athletes now that you can really do any and everything that you want, because I would have never thought I was going to go to University of Michigan when I was younger. But like I said, having those reach schools and realizing that things are obtainable the more that you grow, I think it's good to show people that, this is, yes, it's an elite school, but you can be elite. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to. So I feel like the message that I would want to tell them or tell younger athletes is really just take all the opportunities that's, like, given to you. And even like you mentioned, like, if there isn't, like, a seat at the table, like, pull up a chair. Like, you can literally do anything that you put your mind to as long as you work towards it. Nothing is really necessarily impossible. It just takes a little longer than the possible. And I think being that role model for younger athletes is really what I try to do in all aspects of my life, because honestly, you never think that you can be somewhere until you see somebody else do it. So I try to be in so many different lights and spaces to show people that they can do it, no matter how young or old.
I've seen you in different spaces influencing younger, whether it's athletes or younger students here on campus or just your peers here on campus. In what ways have you built community here at Michigan?
So I will say when I first got here, I didn't feel like I had too many friends. So I did my best to, like, try to look at different groups and things like that in Michigan. I feel like Michigan is a very student organization heavy school. Like, they want you to branch out and build community and things like that. So after my freshman year, again, just kind of seizing every opportunity possible, I signed up for the Black Student Athlete Summit. And then from there, I started a student organization here on campus that's mainly in the athletic field, but we kind of do things outside of the athletic space as well. But with that community, the Black Student Athlete Alliance, that has probably been, like, my baby since my sophomore year. I started that from literally nothing, but just to have my friends, like, be my e-board members, and we have meetings, have movie nights, have simple things like study tables, Bible study, or we do things like community service as well, helping with, like, nonprofits around the community. So that's probably, like, my biggest way, just building the Black student athletes. I realized even working and recruiting with football, how hard it is for early enrollees to come in January, because it's like you go from your high school, you're probably only 16, 17 years old, and then in January you're just at a college with 22-year-olds on a daily basis. And I feel like that can definitely be daunting, because when I first got here, and I was already 18, I was already prepared. I had a summer to prepare to come to college, but it's when you don't have that summer to prepare, you're just moving straight from your sport to a totally new environment, totally different school. People are going across the states, across the country, and it's just, I feel like that was, like, a main thing I knew that needed to be built, just, like, to have that space where people can feel like they could be themselves or have that older brother, older sister they never had, or even if they did have siblings but now they're far away from them, just to still have that type of, like, family sense. So I think that's, like, my main job if that makes sense, like to be the person. I feel like I kind of took on that role to just build community within the athletic space. And then outside of like athletic space, I'm on a couple of different clubs. But I think the athletic space one is really like my most cherished one, just because I already know for a fact that could have helped me my freshman year. So I want to make sure it's good for everybody else in their freshman year.
I think that's a great legacy to leave here in Michigan Athletics. Black Student Athlete Alliance, definitely, we support that group, and I think it was definitely needed. We've not done anything like that in my 22 and a half years, so I'm definitely happy to see it thrive. Happy to see it continue to thrive even after you leave here. I think you've built a great legacy, and so I'm so excited and proud of that program that you built. I know I give you a hard time all the time about Kennedy. You are involved in so much. How do you have time for academics and everything else? But you make the time, and I think this work is important to you. I've seen you again shine, whether it's in the classroom and outside of the classroom, in all the groups that you're a part of. So definitely, I think that's a great motivating factor to students that look like you. And I think it's important for you to see, for them to see that, you can have it all, you can do it all. It's about being setting your intentions, being intentional with the work. And so I'm just proud of you. So I just wanted to take the time to share that with you.
Well, thank you. I was going to ask you, since you have been here for 22 years and you've spoke to so many different athletes, I know you're on a bunch of different sports. They're not just one sport, not one shoe kind of fits everything. But I was wondering, what initiatives or programs do you feel like could better support these college athletes, since you see so many different people and their different lives? And although you are our academic advisor, we love you, but we can still talk to you about pretty much anything. So what do you feel like could help us?
Yeah, I think one thing definitely is supportive staff members, and, obviously students have their coaches that support them every day. So I hope for our Black student athletes that they always know they have support within athletics, right? So not just on the coaching staff, here in academics. I hope that people see them not just as a product on the fields of play, right? That they genuinely do care about these students, these athletes, and their well-being, right? Certainly, we want them to be elite while they're here on the fields of play, in the classrooms, but Black student athletes have a unique set of challenges, right? Black student athletes, and all students come from all different walks of life. But I think for Black student athletes, there are always a set of unique challenges, right? And so it's important for those athletes to have people they can go to without fear of judgment, right? Without fear of, oh, this is what you're going through. Where they're not being judged for the things that they may go through or encounter or may not necessarily have the same experiences with, right? So free of judgment. So I think it's important for them to have a safe space within athletics, whether that be a coach they can talk to, someone in academics, someone in athletic counseling. I love that our athletic director is so open and has an open door policy. And I hope student athletes know that, especially Black student athletes, right, to have a Black male in that type of position. I hope they feel they can go to him and share concerns or just talk, whether it be career related. I think we have so many different people throughout athletics that can touch those athletes' lives that maybe they don't even realize how great their support system is here in Michigan Athletics. And so I hope to get to a point where, we can expose our student athletes to a world within Michigan Athletics that's outside of their normal day-to-day, even outside of myself, right? Even though I have particular sports that I work with, I try to make sure I introduce myself to all student athletes, but especially our Black student athletes, so they know they have a safe space so they know they have folks here in athletics that look like them, right? And so even outside of this building, I hope to expose them to, again, other folks within Michigan athletics, where they realize that, hey, there's people around here that genuinely care about you. We have athletic counselors that genuinely care about you and want to see you succeed. We have career counselors that want to see you succeed, right? And we're here to support you. So that I hope to one day widen that support system for those student athletes. So I think I got to the gist of your question.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And so I also serve on our Game Changers team, right? We want to make sure we're creating inclusive spaces, inclusive environments. We're equitable to all student athletes. And so definitely continuing the work in that space, right? Showing that these students that, yes, we are game changers, we can change the game, and here's how you do it. And so continue to implement programming to support students, and then empowering those students. If you don't see it, build it. If you don't see it, you have support here where we'll help you build it. We'll, as much as we can, give you the resources to help you build it. So if you don't see it exist, that doesn't mean that we can't make that happen for you, right?
Right.
We have blinders. We may not see everything. We may not be in the spaces all the time where our student athletes are to understand the genuine needs, but it's always about communicating, talking to those students, and again, creating that safe space and open environments where they can say, hey, we can thrive a little bit more if only we had this, or is anyone considering this, or has anyone thought about this? And so whether that be, constantly surveying students, having them take, assessments or, survey tools so we can hear from them. I think it's important to always hear, because just because we've always done things a certain way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. And so we have to constantly evolve. And so we have to keep our ear to the ground. We always have to be communicating with those that we serve.
And listening to all of that, it seems like you have a pretty good legacy that you're leaving here. Not that you're leaving anytime soon, because you want to stay here for me, of course. But it seems like you have a great legacy going with all that you do under the Game Changers Committee, and just being in all your different shoes that you fill. Do you feel like there's another legacy or something more specific that you want to hit on, that you want to leave for both your colleagues and student athletes to kind of like work with?
Yes, for me, I'm a servant leader. I'm here to serve. I think all of us here in athletics are servant leaders, or have servant leadership as an aspect of how they do the things that they do, how they serve in their various positions. For me, I care about people. I care about people. I care about how people feel. I care about how I make people feel. I want, whether it's student athletes or our staff members, and I think in our hallway here, I think the folks that I work with every day know that I care, and I want people to I am the biggest advocate and cheerleader for my student athletes and staff members. Like, I'm always cheering on my friends. I'm always cheering on my colleagues here. I want to see them do well, right? I want to see them do well. For me, it's never about competition. Like, I always want to see people thrive in doing the things that they want to do. So I try to continue to encourage staff members daily. They know I have an open door policy. I don't care what role or position I'm in. I'm never bigger than the team. And so I don't know everything. I think competition over collaboration is always important. And I try to leave that with the folks I encounter. They know they can always bounce ideas off of me, and they can do, it's vice versa. It works both ways. And so I hope to leave the legacy of genuine care. I hope to leave the legacy of you can do anything you set your mind to. I hope to leave the legacy of sometimes you might have to kick down the door in order to make change or make things happen. And sometimes, you got to rattle some feathers and you got to shake some tables, but it's necessary, right? And so I hope to leave a legacy of let's keep pushing the envelope. Let's keep, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. There's so much work to be done in this space, especially today as the landscape continues to change within athletics, right? So in the space of NIL, I want to make sure that our student athletes, we're teaching them financial literacy, right? We're teaching them how to persevere through difficult times and challenges. And so that's me, in a nutshell, genuinely. So whether I'm in athletics or outside of athletics, I want to, always be that person to cheer on and show what's possible, no matter what role you're in. Possibilities are endless. And so, you can do anything you set your mind to. And so I want to leave that always with the staff and students.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Our Voices Black History Month Conversations. We hope these stories inspire you to uplift and celebrate diversity in all areas of life. To hear more inspiring stories, visit mgoblue.com.